Call the April 13th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. If you'd all rise and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Yes, so Wyatt Urban and Shannon McGuire are absent. All the other members are here, and we have a forum for tonight's meeting.
Excellent. All right, item 3, consent agenda. Any comments, questions by the?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to 4A, the Jamestown Estates petition to vacate utility easements, public hearing.
Yes, so there was a final plat that was approved as part of the consent agenda items, Jamestown Estates replat. So as part, related application is a vacation of some utility easements. So there are 11 lots out in Jamestown Estates, and they're proposing to replat and reduce the number of lots from 11 to 8. When they do that, some of the existing utility easements ended up in the middle of some lots, and so the idea is to petition to vacate, remove those utility easements, and then that final plat would rededicate easements in similar locations along the property line.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can scroll, I was going to scroll to the location map for this case because it kind of highlights where the utility easements would be vacated. We're almost there. So there's a copy of the location map, and if you can see that bright green, that neon green. So there were those utility easements are located between lots 2 and 3, lots 4 and 5. Between 12 and 13, lots 13, 14, and lots 14 and 15. Utility companies were contacted about this vacation. Spire responded that didn't affect any of their facilities. We didn't hear back from any other utilities. The city doesn't have any water or sewer lines in those utility easements, so we think it's appropriate to go ahead and we recommend approval. Staff does. And then this will be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for final approval, and because it's petition to vacate, there's a public hearing that you want to open to the floor.
Okay. All right, well, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wants to speak?
We've got no one online, just Ryan.
Just Ryan.
Just Ryan.
Just Ryan. Okay, going once, going twice. All right, we'll close the public meeting, hearing, and do commission discussion. Any questions, comments?
I would move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the Board of Aldermen approve the Jamestown Estate replat of lots 1 through 5, 10 through 15, final plat with conditions and recommendations of staff. Is that the right one?
No.
This will be item 4A,
I'm
which
getting
is
there.
the petition to vacate.
There we
You're one line out.
Yep. Okay. I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the Board of Aldermen approve the request to vacate utility easements in Jamestown Estate as recommended by staff.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
For B,
Okay, item 4B is the Wilkerson Farm, Lot 3, site plan for the fire station. And I'll scroll down a little bit for that too. Site plan sheet. We welcome the fire district, so fire chief and some of the fire board members are here in addition to their engineer. screen, you'll see basically the site plan layout for the Wilkerson Farm Lot 3 site plan for the new fire station. They propose a 10,200 square foot building. There will be 2 driveway accesses. The main access would be on the north side where you see the, I would say, passenger vehicle, that entrance driveway. And then leaving the building, there's a driveway on the south side. And you'll notice a loop driveway around the back that allows them to take their fire vehicles, drive through the site, go through the building, and then that way they're always driving out onto Nation Road, and they don't have to worry about trying to maneuver on Nation Road to get back into the fire station, which I think we see them sometimes do here close by in the older station. Copy of the site plan and the elevations are in the packet. We can look at those if you'd like to. Of note on their site plan, they show a 10-foot shared use path rather than a 5-foot sidewalk, and that came about because of the Nation Road Complete Streets project has a 10-foot shared use path along the east side of Nation Road. We don't know when that project might have funding to get constructed, and so we ask that they construct at least a 5-foot sidewalk along Nation Road. If they want to do the 10, that'd be great too. Either way is okay with us. Staff would recommend approval of the Lot 3 Wilkerson Farm first plat site plan with the following conditions. Submit revised drawings if necessary. 2, construct a minimum 5-foot sidewalk along Nation Road. 3, city engineer approval of site plan revisions and any changes, modifications, or alterations required by the same to the site plan revisions, which is some standard language that we added within last year. 4, submit a DNR land disturbance permit if required. 5, install and maintain sediment and erosion controls during construction. 6, install a key box as required by the Kearney Fire and Rescue Protection District, and yes, they will require they themselves make that. 7, submit a building permit application prior to construction. 8, submit a sign permit prior to installation of signs. And 9, develop the project in compliance with all codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. Taxes would not apply in this case. This application will be for the Board of Aldermen. Again, we have several members of the fire district and the fire chief and their engineer here if there are questions.
Do we have any idea on the easements for the water line?
Last I heard that they're trying to get some last easements that maybe we will have them by the end of this week, according to Shelley. Hopeful anyway.
So I have one question that might be silly. It's page 26. The front of the building has 3 doors, garage garage doors, and the back has 2. Which is, yeah.
I think it might be they have smaller vehicles like a brush truck or something maybe that don't need to go through the building, but
Smart guy. Kevin Pratt.
He's all right.
For the applicant, Kearney Fire District, 201 East 6th Street. It's a small bay for either to put in an extra ambulance or potentially a brush truck, a smaller vehicle, just for storage purposes, if nothing else. I would just say while I'm up here, our vote passed in 24. We sold our bonds in 25. Not that we're on an extreme time crunch here, but we're supposed to try to spend those down within the first 3 years. So we're well into moving through year 2. Hope to get started maybe June. They're looking at a mid-year go live open date for us next year. So happy to answer any other questions. And Pat, our engineer's here as well.
Thank you. I think it's great to have service on the other side of
Yeah, that's good.
the interstate, especially as it's not, there's only so many ways across Kearney.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be great for us for response times
yeah.
and public safety, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, we're excited.
Anything else?
I'll move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the Board of Aldermen approve the Lot 3 Wilkerson plot first plat site plan with the conditions recommended by staff.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries. Will take us to C. The Innovation Fourth Plat Lot 1-2 Fulfillment House Site Plan.
Scoot down a little bit for that one too. Here we go. Okay, so Fulfillment House is represented here today by Kurt Hamilton and Travis Hedrick, who would be the consultant to construct the building for them. Hedrick Construction has built several buildings out in Innovation. Proposes a 17,000 square foot warehouse building on Lot 1A, Innovation Fourth Plat at 915 Premier Drive. That is to the west of the Preju building, which was recently approved last year. Across the street from Hoffman Custom Homes building that was approved a month or two ago. Some other projects that we've recently seen come through. Floor plan shows just under 15,100 square feet of enclosed space, and then on the east side of the building, there's a canopy overhang for an additional almost 2,000 square feet. The building includes gray siding and gray stone wainscot with additional stone extending the full height of the facade by the main entrance, and then some, I call them pillars, spread throughout the rest of the frontage of the building. Site plan was reviewed and approved by the Innovation Board of Trustees. Site plan shows a 5-foot sidewalk from the street to the front of the building. They show that over the top of an easement that has sanitary sewer and storm sewer within that easement. So we've asked that they relocate that sidewalk and move it outside of the easement. The proposed project also proposes 22 parking spaces, and they show 5 deferred spaces on the east side of the parking lot. If you look at the site plan, you see them hatched in. They need 3 additional parking spaces based on the square footage of the building and the number of staff members they have to meet parking requirements. And we think they can do that by adding some parking lot striping on the existing driveway that they show and not worry about the extra hatched in area on the east side. Maybe they could run some spaces parallel along the north side over by the street, or maybe on the east side along by the dumpster on that side of the curb. Staff recommends approval of Lot 1A Innovation Fourth Plat Site Plan with the following conditions. Submit revised drawings that include relocation of the sidewalk connection to the building outside of the existing utility easement. B, landscape plan to identify the native spruce or pine species they just didn't have a label on what type it was. Add 3 additional parking spaces for 25 total, and other revisions if necessary. 2, Innovation Board of Trustee approval, which we have received. 3, city engineer approval of site plan revisions and any changes, modifications, or alterations required by the same to the site plan revisions. 4, submit a DNR land disturbance permit if required, which we also have received. 5, install and maintain 7 erosion controls during construction. 6, install a key box as required by the fire district. 7, submit a building permit application prior to construction. 8, submit a sign permit prior to installation of signs. And 9, develop the project in compliance with all codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. This application will be before the Board of Aldermen for their consideration. And then Travis Hedrick and Kurt Hamilton with the Fulfillment House are in the audience if there are questions.
David, excuse me, David, are the finishes on this building similar to the other buildings around?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's part of what the Board of Trustees also looks at as well.
Okay. Is there any lighting on this building?
Is there any lighting?
They have some lighting around the building. They're not lighting the parking lot, but
But
they
there
do have
is
some
light.
lighting around the building.
Okay.
The site plan there's a spec sheet built into the site plan sheet, so they've got shielded lights.
Okay.
And we're just looking at the current proposed enclosure, the future additions, just to give us an idea of the hope for the
Right.
future? Okay.
Right. Now, the size of that may not require going back through site plan, so, no, it will, it's over 5,000 square
I
feet,
say,
sorry. Yeah,
then
it's
it
over
would change the number of parking spaces they needed too, I would assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's why they requested the deferred, because they didn't want to build parking spaces with the curb and then tear them out later.
Right. Right. Any other questions, comments?
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend that the Board of Aldermen approve the Fulfillment House site plan for Lot 1A Innovation Fourth Plat with the conditions recommended by staff.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Right, motion carries. So 4D, which I think was also public,
Not
oh,
yet.
not yet,
No.
okay. Major Commercial Center, Lot 1C, Frank's Auto Shop.
Yeah, that's it. I'll scoot down to that side also. This will be better. Here we go. So Frank's Auto Shop, applicant isn't here tonight for this item. Frank's Auto Shop proposes to build a 1,600 square foot detached garage at 700 North Country Avenue. So this is a site of former Pink House Barbecue, Abby's Frozen Custard. There was a used car dealership most recently. I just referenced all those old ones because people, I think, remember those locations. Site plan, they need to go through site plan because the proposed building is more than 50% of the size of the existing building. Even though it's not that big of a building, the existing building is small, and so that site plan kicks in a little easier than at maybe other locations. The proposed elevations of the building show vertical metal siding and a brick veneer wainscot and with a metal roof. Colors and materials weren't labeled on the site, or on the elevation sheets. Staff has recommended that they use building materials and colors similar to what is already on the existing building. So gray brick wainscot around the building, and then wood siding, light gray wood siding around the rest of the facade of that building. The auto shop will use property for minor auto repair services. I just want to note that that is a permitted use in the C commercial district. So if they were to do anything with major auto repair or vehicle sales or rental lots or need a tow lot, they would have to come back for a conditional use permit. That's, they've been notified of that, but I also want to note it in the meeting too, so you guys are aware. Staff recommends approval of the Lot 1C Major Commercial Center site plan for Frank's Auto at 700 North Country Avenue with the following conditions. 1, submit revised drawings if necessary. 2, building elevations to include brick veneer wainscot with wood siding above, such as LP Smart Siding or something similar. I think the Smart Side is what the existing building has. With materials and colors matching the existing building. Submit trash enclosure detail and construct trash enclosure as part of the building construction. Install a key box if required by Kearney Fire and Rescue Protection District. Submit a building permit application prior to construction. Submit a sign permit prior to installation of signs. And develop the project in compliance with all codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. This application will be for the Board of Aldermen.
How do we differentiate between major auto repair and minor auto repair?
Minor auto repair would be those things such as tires, oil changes, like a Jiffy Lube type of shop. Major auto repair would be locations dealing in wrecked vehicles.
Okay.
Where you might have, vehicles in disrepair at the site. I think the key there is, a vehicle like that, you want to have screened so it's not visible. If that were the case.
Okay.
And I assume our code enforcement person would be watching this to make sure that there isn't major auto repair being
We
done.
would have to, yeah, it'd be something that we would end up needing to do.
It's right
And the
across
police
the.
station is close by too, so that is.
That's true. But it's right across the street from a place that does what I would consider major auto repair, right? So,
And it looks like in the past that I've driven by there, it's some of the stuff he's doing in there is pretty major.
Recently, are you talking about 700 North Country?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In fact, there was an engine laying on the concrete. That's not major, then, so. Also, the elevations that were in our packet appear to show metal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been made aware that as part of his approval that he's gonna have to put wood.
They were forwarded a copy of the packet today. We've had discussions with them over the last several weeks. It's part of a pre-application meeting that we had with them. So we've brought that up to them on several occasions.
And just to be clear, this is a second building on the site, right? The original structure is gonna remain?
Correct.
Okay.
What's the separation between the two buildings?
Well, the elevations are a little different. The existing building has kind of that drive up, so it's 10 feet or more from the other building.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
pretty- it looks-
it is.
It'll be 10 feet or more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think you'd want it, if they're keeping the existing building to look very similar to the existing building, otherwise it's gonna be wildly different, right?
I think the example out there is, the only other place I think that has multiple buildings is American Pride, and the American Pride, all of their buildings have a similar design.
Yeah,
You know, outside of that, there's a police station, there's one building there, the gun range, there's, Hunt's Car Care has one building,
mhm.
so.
Any more discussion? Anyone want to make a motion?
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the Board of Aldermen approve Lot 1C Major Commercial Center Site Plan for 700 North Country Avenue with the conditions recommended by staff.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now the public hearing.
Now the public hearing, yes. So there's a proposed code amendment to sections 405.700 and 410.070 regarding APWA requirements for stormwater. It clarifies that natural drainage features and waterways are not considered public improvements to be accepted by the city for ownership and maintenance. And then clarifies that city ownership and maintenance of public improvements begin after formal acceptance by the Board of Aldermen. We always approve an ordinance accepting a final plat, but we're gonna kind of do a two-prong approach where when they build the public improvements, that goes to the board for, with an ordinance officially accepting those improvements into the city. This ordinance was prepared by the city attorney. And if you want to look at maybe what the changes in the language, the additions and strike-throughs, we've got a tracking version that was in the back of the packet. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning code amendment to sections 405.700 and 410.070. There is a public hearing scheduled for this item, so you want to open for public hearing. And then this will be scheduled for the Board of Aldermen at their meeting next week.
Okay. Public hearing is open. Still just Ryan.
Just trying.
Anybody? All right, gonna close the public hearing. Open it for commission discussion.
What version of APWA are we on currently?
An old version. I don't know the year, but it is 90-something?
98?
92, 98. But that is something the Public Works Department's working on, updating.
That would be good.
Yeah. I think if you look, the code, it had something written, but it's kind of hard to understand. And so that particular section will update to, the most current APWA.
Anything in particular inspire this to come about? Like this change to what prompted this code change?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead if you want.
I was gonna say, basically is stormwater issues. So people think that the city owns streams and creeks, and the city doesn't necessarily own streams and creeks.
Doesn't own streams and creeks, not
There.
necessarily at period.
So, so the city takes over public improvements. So, when we see a subdivision come in and those public improvements include, street improvements, sanitary sewer improvements, street storm improvements, so pipes, and water lines. Those are the things that become the public improvement.
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend that the Board of Aldermen approve the proposed amendment to municipal code sections 405.700 and 410.070 as recommended by staff.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Any other items for discussion? The good of the order?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Look out.